Here we are. Cam.
What?
Guess what today is?
Is it the last day of school?
No.
It's chili and cinnamon roll day in the cafeteria.
No.
Ugly sweater day? Ugly sweater day?
Kind of.
Yeah, with some math symbols that I don't even know what some of them are.
You're not fully festive. You're not festive enough because it is Techmas 22.
Techmas 2022. And now you don't have to adjust your cameras anymore from the glare from my head. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. We are here for Techmas 2022. I am Krista Cantrell, one of the instructional technology specialists here at LSR7.
And I'm Cam Hill, another instructional technology specialist. And we are about to share all of the awesomeness of Lumio with you in our last Techmas session today.
This is the last one today.
It is kind of sad.
It's been a great day.
Yeah.
If you've not been able to join all of the Techmas webinars that we're doing today, because we have covered Schoology. We've covered Screencast-O-Matic.
Yes.
There's been Edpuzzle, Cami, and this package number five goes to Lumio. If you've not been able to catch up with those, these are recorded sessions, so you can find them in the Schoology group. Also, you might want to check out Twitter with the hashtag Techmas in R7.
LSR7.
No, not LSR7.
No,
don't
just
do
R7. No, just R7.
Techmas in R7.
That's right.
I don't know. You might look at Techmas in LSR7. You're probably not the first person to make that mistake.
Probably. We want to make sure that you have the right thing, so we're going to go ahead and put it out here for you.
Yep, so jump out, check out Twitter, follow us, check back later in the Schoology professional learning course or the YouTube channel. Feel free to like and subscribe when you search for instructional technology with LSR7. Again, these recorded sessions will be there, but this one specifically, we're talking about Lumio. All right. Lumio is a new tool for the district. We got it last year as we started getting all of the new smart IFPs, interactive flat panels in the district. It is a product of Smart Tech, pretty user-friendly with that. Great tool for bringing in content that you're already using with your students, whether it is slides, PDFs, images. There's some interactive components with it, but it's putting that content in front of your students. So as you are presenting and sharing, students have it on their device. Then we're going to show you a little bit later how students can interact with it. You can gamify things. You can get some assessments in there. But all over, it takes your digital learning, or it takes your learning and instruction in the classroom and transforming it into that active, collaborative, engaging learning experience.
I think that's the big thing, is just being present in front of your students and being able to share things out a little bit differently, but not recreating the wheel, which is super nice. And especially this time of year, we get to the point where we're thinking about the end of the semester, but then we're thinking about when we get back from winter break and stuff like that. So some teachers have kind of already jumped into Lumio a little bit, but also it's just a good refresher on how we can create content, how we can build content, things that we take things that we've done and just go a little bit further with it and continue to grow with it, because that's the nice thing about this too, is it continues to kind of update and improve as they get features that are requested and things like that too. So something that we've been excited to share about all day, and we're kind of finishing off with the biggest gift, if you will, I think.
The biggest gift.
So,
yeah. And I know teachers are using this, again, bringing content that they've already created, bringing it into this environment. When we talk accessibility, one, you're getting it right in front of students with their Chromebook, which is a powerful tool.
We're ready to jump in.
Let's show them how to get to Lumio.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Get a tab open. We'll do that really quick. There we go. All right. Going to jump over to our screen. So this is what your Lumio dashboard will look like when you get ready to sign in. And so as a teacher, as an instructor in LSR7, you have the ability to upload and create within Lumio. Again, like Krista mentioned, this came with our flat panel purchase and all of our smart technology. So it lives within the cloud space in Lumio, which we're showing you right now, but also on the panel. And so we'll show you a little bit about what that looks like as well. All right. So when we get here, we're going to go to lum.io. That's how we're going to sign in. So we'll drop that link in the chat as well. But then you have the option to sign in as a teacher. And so when we sign in as a teacher, it'll automatically link to our Google account. I've already been here before, so it says, welcome back, Cam. If it's your first time, you're going to have to go through those series of steps to set up the single sign-on as a teacher and as an adult, and set that up so when you do come back, you get logged in the way that you would like. And so we'll click on the link here, and we'll get into our Lumio dashboard, and it'll pop up and show you all of the things that are accessible to you in terms of how you can create, how you can share, how you can present, all of that stuff. So as a teacher, again, when you jump into this for the first time, it can be overwhelming as you see my screen popping up. There's a lot that you can do within here. So the nice thing, again, is to be able to kind of navigate and go through a little bit of the different types of things in terms of making things a little bit more accessible in terms of having this in front of your students, but then also creating and having that, option of looking at different tools and things that you've done in the past. So on our dashboard here, let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. You can even pinch and zoom on my screen. I guess I forgot I could do that. I mean, it's just getting late in the day in Techmas. I'm kind of getting a little dreary. So, but now that I've zoomed in a little bit, you guys can see a little bit better. So anything that I've created or that I've used in this Lumio space is showing up. So you guys can see that there's some different things, whether I created those within this space or if I found them within the Lumio library. It's just kind of a running dashboard. We can also link to Google Drive. And so some of the resources that we've shared throughout the day for Techmas have been given in terms of things that you can go back and access in the past. So we will be dropping a link for a Padlet that we created in Lumio. We'll do that here shortly and share that with you. But there's different ways to kind of access files and go through and create things within here. So I'm in my library. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Let's say let's show them.
Let's show them. All right, so I'm in my library here, right? And so things that I've created, there's also the Lumio library. But before we get too far into this, what you need to understand is there's different things that have been created by teachers that have already been kind of set up in this Lumio space. So if I'm in my Lumio library and I'm looking at this, this is very similar to other tools that we've used in terms of how we can search, navigate, and find things. Some of the other things we've even talked about today, including Edpuzzle and Kami, you can kind of search and filter things as well. So when you go to Lumio Library, that is pre-made content, whether it's through Smart or through other educators that have created some things. And so as I scroll down, you can kind of see some of those things that pop up. But again, it can be overwhelming with all of this stuff coming up here. So what I can do, yeah.
If there's something in there that I want, Cam, can I use it, or is I'm running it from someone else's?
Absolutely, you can use it, but you have to create your own space. So if I click in, let's say I want one of these holiday things that are popping up here. So if I click into a holiday argumentative essay, already kind of pre-populated. This one looks like it's already created by Smart. I've got this option to save it to my library. And so then that makes it my own. I kind of have taken what they've that other educator or that group has created, but then when I save it to my library, I can go in and edit it and add things as I want to. And we'll show you kind of what that looks like as well. But that's a nice feature based on some things that have already been created within this Lumio space. You can take those things, save them to your personal library, and then kind of adjust them as needed for you and your students. So lots of different options in terms of what that looks like. When we're filtering, right? We're filtering, we can search for resources. We can go by grade level. So maybe I'm a primary grade teacher. And so instead of being all grades, I just want to go pre-K through first grade. And then I'm looking for things that relate to mathematics. And so when I do that,
you would.
I know I would. T-shirt, right? Ugly sweater here. So when I do that, the big thing here is I still need to go over here and click this magnifying glass. That can be kind of tricky when you're navigating here. So if you're searching, you're narrowing by filter, you're still going to, even if you don't type anything in here, you're still going to want to click that magnifying glass. And when that happens, then you get certain things that pop up and you can see who they're shared by. You can click in, let's see, maybe this gumball thing, it looks like is a kind of an interactive thing that somebody created that we're looking at in terms of a lesson and presentation. So we can click in there, we can preview what it looks like and how it's created. I can maybe even look at what it would look like to use some of these tools and features on here and kind of use that writing just to see what it would look like before I really go about trying to save it. And I can see how many slides are there as well. But when I click that Save to Library button, you can see that it already starts uploading. And then when I go back to my Lumio library, this Gumball Math graphing addition and subtraction activity will be added for me to share or even create and edit as I'd like.
Yep. So it makes your very own copy of that, drops it into your personal library. And I think that's one of the awesome parts too about Lumio is while a lot of the features are already there for us, there is this library here that is either a jumping stop. Mm-hmm. It is pre-created things that you can take, you can tweak, you can go and get ideas, and maybe you just want a background of a winter scene. They have those there for you also.
And when you click those filters, you can see off to the left here, it kind of reminds me of what I've got. If I want to clear those filters at any time, I can. I can also navigate down here and see that there's 239 things that kind of fit that description. So if I want to dig that deep, usually what happens is a lot of times things that have been used more frequently kind of pop up at the beginning. So you can kind of look at what those look like and kind of navigate the way you want to. But again, saving anything from the Lumio library to your library then gives you access to go in and edit it. So when I click back over to my library at the top, you can see that Gumball activity is here. And now I have the option to either start that activity right away or even edit that activity. And so creating that copy of the lesson from the Lumio library and then transferred over to my library gives me the option to kind of play around and edit as I'd like. So another way to add content is just directly from your library. And so if you'll notice at the top here, I've got import and new. The plus sign is your friend when you're creating within Lumio, whether we're in the Lumio space here or if we're on our panel, which we'll see here in just a minute, kind of what it looks like a little bit too. When I hit that plus sign, that's where I can create and add content as I'm going. And so the biggest thing when you're importing resources, again, if you have it linked to your Google Drive, you have different options in terms of where you can add things, whether it's from your computer, existing files there, from your Google Drive directly, or even from your Lumio library. So if you save something from the Lumio library, you put it in my library, that's also an option to import here as well. Yep.
So we're not talking about starting from scratch with anything, especially when we're looking at your Google Drive or things that are on your computer, like a PowerPoint. We're looking at taking things you're already using with your students. So that's instructional content that you have up and you're presenting, you're sharing, it's in Schoology, bringing that into this Lumio space, which is cloud-based, so it follows you wherever you go. And once it is in this Lumio space, then we get to see some of the power of Lumio.
There's also some integrations in terms of applications. So you'll see YouTube here, which is super nice because you can embed a YouTube video in your presentation. So if you know there's one that you use quite frequently with whatever content you're instructing about that at that given time, you can embed it in there and it actually pulls it up within the presentation. So students can watch it from their device since it's running through the presentation, or you can take that moment to have thumb to lid, close that lid, and do it as a whole group video and instruct that way. The Desmos calculator is also another feature, which is super nice for those secondary folks that would be using those calculator functions more frequently, probably. And then the PhET interactive simulations are really good, science and math mainly, different manipulative tools, if you will, in terms of specific types of content. So those are there as well. Another awesome feature, these pre-made templates. So just a blank new page is an option where you can pull that up and you can see all of the different options that come up here. Again, if you're not super creative like me, like I've got the content, right? But the creativity piece, not so much.
I've got content too.
Well, I'm looking at you because you're here. You're the only one in front of me right now. I know the people out there, they might be in the same boat as me, but I feel like I have the knowledge, but I don't have the creative touch very often. I know my teammates usually do, but I don't. But
You're saying it makes you look good.
It makes me look good, right? I've got all that information that I know is fun to share and going through, but these types of things are already pre-built for me. So again, if I'm starting just a blank slate, I'm not necessarily starting just a blank slate because they've already given me some different options on things to use. So another thing, when we're in new, kind of click down there, the shout it out activity, real quick, kind of get you some information to shout out with the class. So whether you're pre-building this in the Lumio space, in the cloud space, or if you're using it from the panel, when you're using it that way, another kind of great activity just to have a quick snippet of where the kids are. That gives you, it's a teacher-led activity, so you start, you initiate it, but that gives you kind of a good idea of where kids are. They have an option to shout it out. You can even change some of the features in terms of how many responses kids have, if their name's displayed there. So if it's something where you just want to be kind of anonymous with some of the things you're doing. So a lot of good things that are just real quick feedback type things, but also an opportunity for students to share out as well with that shout out activity. So.
And when those responses appear up on the IFP, then as a teacher or a student can come up and touch and drag, sort, catalog, organize, remove all of those pieces. So it's taking all the information from the students that they're sharing, whether it's a reflection, a prediction, their answers, their voting, all of those pieces, and be able to have it up here. And then you have documentation of it.
Absolutely.
Also in your library.
That response activity that you'll see here in this template, that is a really good feature because it does create kind of a formative assessment space for you. And so you can, if you have some of those questions already pre-built, this is a really good feature to have within your presentation if you're looking for those quick results in terms of how are my students getting it, because it will give you sort of a typical CSV file, report, Excel of all of your students that are in that session. You have your different options here, multiple choice question, true, false, multiple answer, poll, opinion, and short answer. So a lot of the same kind of formative assessment tools you would see in other things that we utilize, but also having it within the Lumio space makes it right there for the students that's in front of them. You can jump right into it as well.
You know, and I'm thinking about this too with the response questions that you can put in there. You can randomize it. So that if Cam and I are students in the class and we're taking it at the same time, he may be answering question 4 and I'm over here doing a true false, it's question 7, back and forth. That way we're not collaborating on our answers.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I can discard this because I'm going to get out of here and then jump back in. A couple more things with the new feature here. The game-based activities is really the engaging piece that we see a lot of, and it's got 12 different features here that you can see. And a lot of what we did with some of our summer learning sessions, but then also when teachers have really kind of just jumped in and started Lumio, they're really more familiar with these types of activities because there are a lot of those out there and created. And it's just, again, another way of kind of presenting your content, sharing your content, having the students work through it, but in a more engaging space. So definitely the creativity part of this, again, as well. Like if I click into the game show, I would start to create all my content. This looks a lot like that response, that formative assessment, but then all of the cool display features, the smart monsters that we'll see on, we've seen on some of our slides that we'll share out with you guys as well. All of that cool creative stuff that's kind of living in that space is also here as well. And so when you think about those game-based activities, again, as we kind of pull these back up, you create the content, you share the content in terms of what's being utilized, but then the creative pieces, the manipulative pieces, the things that make noise, and all the cool stuff that really engage the students are already there for you.
Things that make noise, Cam.
Things that make noise.
As a classroom teacher, did you ever enjoy having every student's device make noise at the same time or at different times?
Not necessarily. So is there a way around that?
Absolutely. The games that are in here that do make noise only make noise up on the IFP. So when students are engaged in the activity, they don't have the option for sound. So as a teacher, there's one output for the audio.
It's like SMART was being super smart when they figured that out. They knew exactly what teachers wanted. So it's just great to have the different types of activities as well. You can have these be review or even just kind of a precursor to what you're doing within your lesson too. We've seen teachers utilize all of these things in different ways just to kind of engage the students, grab their attention, but then kind of feature different things in terms of what the instruction looks like with your presentation.
Absolutely.
So the last thing down here, some other ready-made resources. Activating prior knowledge is what it sounds like. You've got some different things here, some KWLQ charts that you're familiar with, true false statement, those types of things. You can look at that. The questions and reflection, again, these are already pre-built, so you can kind of move these and change these and edit these as you'd like, depending on what you're talking about with your students. And so a lot of pre-made templates that are similar to things maybe we've done in the past, paper pencil or in other outlets, but these are just right here built in that Lumio space for you as well. Manipulatives, which is good for a lot of those younger grades or even some of the older grades too, if you're kind of moving around, sorting, doing those types of things. And so some things that you would think about, you know, utilizing as teachers with physical things, having all of the things. Cause and effect, content mapping, Cornell note taking, all those types of things. So when you guys look at these graphic organizers, when they pop up here, you've got different things that we've seen and some of us even utilize in terms of kind of what it looks like based on our standards, with what our curriculum looks like, how we want kids to kind of organize their thoughts and share it. This is a really great tool as well, where it's already built here for you, and then it gives this space for the students to go in there and interact.
Absolutely. I'm thinking again back to, I already have content, instructions that I'm sharing with students, and maybe during this presentation that I typically do, I have them pull out their notebook and they're journaling in it, or I'm handing out the PDF of a graphic organizer, or I'm handing out all these manipulatives in the middle of the instruction. With Lumio, it takes those pieces and just kind of puts them all together in one giant file or presentation for students and for the teacher.
Yeah, and it's not going to go away, right?
Right.
When we're done, we have the option. Say I started this activity, these little 3 dots in this Lumio space. When we're done, we have the option to do a few things. We can edit, we can rename it if we're changing those types of things. We can also share a link, which is a huge piece to this. We can collaborate with other teachers by giving them this copy code link that will give them a copy of what we've created or what we found in the Lumio library. So then it can be added to their library. But then the student link is great as well because it gives them access to this no matter where they're at in terms of what they're doing. So think about a kid that's not in class, right, for that day, if they're missing, or even if they have to go back and relook at what we did in class. If it's a presentation maybe that's over a 3-class period, we give them that link. They're jumping right back in. They can see their work that they've created, that they've done as an entire class, if we did stuff like that as a whole group, or individually within those spaces too. So those 2 share links are really big benefits of having this space not only living on our panel when we're signed in with Lumio, but also in the cloud using the Lumio website as well.
I think it's a great place to talk about work smarter,
Yeah, right.
Not harder. When we look at the share link for teachers, if you've created a lesson using district curriculum and it's a resource there that you're going to use again and again, it's common for us to share that with our teammate or somebody in the department, grade level, any of those pieces. But we also, don't forget, have the collaboration cafes that are housed in Schoology. A great way to share those resources is pre-made content for fellow teachers who are teaching the same content. Heads up that when you do share, if it's a lesson that you have already done with students or you have been on there and writing on top of your work, your writing will show up on there as well. So often we talk about making a copy ahead of time or going back into your presentation and erasing all those annotations that have been done. But that share link for teachers, great place to drop that into the Collab Cafe. Leave a little note in the update saying, hey, I just put in a resource, a Lumio resource for this unit, and to get working with that.
And again, if we have things that we've used in the past, like I scroll down here, you can see multiple things. I can find those and share whatever I need to in terms of giving access to that, whether it's for students or for teachers that we collaborate with. A couple other things really quick that we'll kind of show you up here within this Lumio space. This hat right here is your tutorial link. And so Smart Training, when we do that, let's share this tab so we can actually see that. There we go. Smart Training here. And so this kind of jumps, and this is a great starting point for a lot of people because we know that you have seen it in action, you've tried it, you've done different things, but this also can give you an idea of maybe some different things that you need to go a bit further with in terms of creating your presentations and sharing them in class. So this is a good tool just to kind of go back to refresh you. Oh yeah, this is how I create that. This is how I want to share it. This is where I use those things in those spaces.
Or possibly they have forgotten all the amazing things we've shared today.
That's
and they
true.
just need that refresher.
And so they need to jump right back in and do it that way. That's true. That's true. Another thing in this Lumio space, this question mark up here gives you a couple other features. So the training's there. What's new is really great because it kind of updates, as we said, even since the beginning of the school year, they've kind of added some things. Just a couple of videos here help, or if you have an issue, but if you really want to see a feature or provide some feedback, that's a great tool as well. They're really responsive with this. When people request features, I know some of the teachers we've worked with, or even us in general, when we have gone out there, they've said, yeah, this is in the works. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to create it because they are building this as they go and making sure that it is something that's living and continuing to grow and adapt as teachers need it when they're using it in their space. So,
absolutely. So what I'm hearing is this Lumio dashboard that you go to at lum.io is great for bringing in your content, gamifying it, putting in some assessments, making it pretty. You know, you've got your content, but making it pretty. But did you know that even on your IFP, on the fly, you can have your Lumio class?
No way.
Yep. You know what we didn't talk about here, Cam, is
that?
getting your kids into Lumio.
Oh, okay.
Because we've talked about creating this tool, this resource, but one of the big powerful pieces is for students to sign into your Lumio class so that whatever you are presenting appears on their screen.
So if we do that really quick, if we just start this session that we've created, and this looks very similar on your panel when you're going to as well. The nice thing is when they sign in once, that's it. They don't have to do it again unless they get kicked out for a reason, which they shouldn't. By the end of the school year, you may want to reset your ID, and that's something we'll remind you when we send stuff out at the end of the school year. But when you click the people, right, you have the option. It shows you some different things with individual handout, group workspace, whole class whiteboard.
We didn't even talk about that.
We haven't talked about that. And maybe we can show that on the panel here really quick in just a second. But if I pop out the old arrow right there, hellosmart.com, quick link in Schoology. You can even make it a button that's a little more accessible for those younger learners. So they just click right on it. But then they enter the class ID, they sign in with their Google account, and they're in your course. And so anytime I'm trying to run a presentation, it'll say, hey, Mr. Hill is getting ready to run his presentation, or it'll jump them right in if I've already started. And so that's a quick way to have people logged in, and something that, again, that we can push out through Schoology and have the students just really quick, hellosmart.com. And then once their teachers are presenting within that class, within that section, whatever time it is, you can pop it right up and they won't have to do anything other than just click, hey, I'm ready to start and get going.
Yep.
So
while we're here, Kim, can we look at that individual handout?
yeah, let's do it
just for the
quick.
sake of time.
Yep.
Whenever you click the little people, it pops out. You have the option to do individual handout. And what that actually does is it gives students the tools on the left hand of their screen to now they have a copy of that specific screen that you shared with them. So say it is this gumball activity and they are supposed to be counting how many blue gumballs are in there. Each student is able to write on their own screen, have their own copy. And then as a teacher, I can go back in and see everybody's work. We can project their work up here on the screen by clicking their name. If we had kids in in Cam's class, it would be easier to demonstrate this, but it allows the students' work to be shared with the whole class. Other options that are available, you do have a group workspace, and that takes that slide that you're presenting to students, and it turns it into a group workspace. So you could say, I need 10 groups, I need 5 groups. It's right there in the middle. And it'll only work once you have students in here, but it'll populate groups, and then it'll have student A and B together in a group workspace, and C and D in a group workspace. And you can, again, look at it as a group. You can look at it as a whole class, sharing it with everybody. You can drag and drop to move students around. You also, good grief, lost my train of thought with that group workspace. The last one is a whole class whiteboard. There's a great time and a place for this. Heads up that when you do this, every student that's in your Lumio class has ability to write on the screen at a time. So thinking about this is almost like a shared pen. We're going to take turns adding to this. We did talk about that this is on your IFP also. So sake of time, we've got just a couple minutes.
Want to share with
We
them?
can share that?
I think so. Let's do it.
We're going to turn to the IFP that is back here. Currently, this is, here we are. This is our giant IFP, and I'm going to go to the home screen. And I have used my smart card. I've used my smart card to actually sign into the panel. And we can tell because my name is up here in the corner. But I'm going to select whiteboard. So normal tool that we use with our students all the time. I can be up here writing on it. I can be adding content. I can select my background with it. I also have tools down here in the bottom left-hand corner. I've got my plus button. These are similar to the tools that Cam shared with us earlier. I can add in a graphic organizer. So then me as a teacher, I'm up here writing instruction up here and we're reviewing it. But if I want students to have this on their Chromebook and to begin engaging with me, similar to what it looked like with Cam when he is working in his dashboard, I have the little people. I have my join code. So again, I would have had students already logged into Hello Smart, and they're clicking on the join code. Like Cam said, they do it one time. Next time they're dropped into Ms. Cantrell's class. When I am running it directly from the IFP, I'm clicking start session. Once students are in there and I've clicked start, what's on my screen appears on their screen. So instantly they have me working on this brainstorm web activity. And then if I want to push it out to them to be individual handout, again, the people, and I can click individual handout. A few other options that are in here, we've looked at whiteboard, so maybe I need a new screen. Shout it out. On the fly, I'm going to say, hey, let's do a reflection on the lesson that we just did. I hit shout it out. Students can start populating responses. We have graphic organizers. We have manipulatives. We have exit tickets. This is one thing that's not when you are working in your Lumio dashboard yet. I hope they put it there. But you have exit tickets. So just really quickly on the fly, I can put in a true false, give a question to the class, and on their screens, they're able to pick true or false with this. So again, this is a whiteboard that is just lives naturally on your flat panel, your IFP. Also with the IFP, when you click on your files, you'll notice I have my Lumio file showing up. Here are all the Lumio files that I've ever created. They follow me. Since it's a cloud-based program, it's going to follow me no matter what IFP I'm on or if I'm working on this device at home. I can open up past ones. We can work on it. I can pick up my pen, something that we're off and running. I can pick up my pen and be able to write on my screen. And again, with students that are in the class, they can use touch screen to zoom in and out to see things more clearly. Holy moly, Cam. What else are we missing with Lumio here?
I mean, is there a way to just create on the fly and add anything in particular with just students being able to like jump in and just do it right away? Is there, I know you talked a little bit about the exit tickets and things like that. Is there a way within here to just get kind of a one-stop shop, if you will, in terms of finding something that you think may be necessary if the kids need to just pause their learning right away? Can I just do a specific whiteboard too? Is that part of it?
I can click my plus screen. So I'm in the middle of my instruction. This is something that I've already built in Lumio. We need to pause and do a check-in. I can pause and add a whiteboard in here with a grid paper and say, okay, we've been talking about this. Let's go back to square one. and we're working on it.
And so, yeah, just on the fly. And I think I may have missed when you talked about that originally, but yeah, on the fly, when you're on your panel, is just super nice to have that access as well, just to have some of these things that are pre-built and ready to go.
Yeah. You also have access, if you notice our fancy fireplace that was up here, you can type in and bring in either pictures or videos in here. Typed in fireplace, we'll go with a video. Oh, here's our video, it's crackling birch wood. And when you tap it, it goes full screen. So again, there's the no ads playing. It is on here, big, live for the students. Last thing, and again, we just talked about that, is just the whiteboard. Cam, I think we're running out of time here.
Yeah, we're getting low on time, so.
When I am signed into my panel, and I just use my smart card to come up here and sign in, opening up a whiteboard, and I instantly can have students in my Lumio class. Don't forget to hit start session. And then as you are working on your screen, it appears on student screen.
And I think, again, another nice feature about having this is it continues to grow and go with what we're using with our technology in our classrooms, but being able to have the space, whether you're interacting on the panel, on the fly, or if you're creating things in advance, whether it's things that you find in the Lumio library you create there, or just, again, starting a whiteboard session, creating class discussion and engagement and accessibility that way is awesome too. You can see we've got our final session of Techmas trying to wrap up here. And so as we end, we've got a couple things that we want to share with you. First of all, happy Techmas. Techmas and R7. Again, if you want to follow that hashtag, some of the things that we shared out throughout today, I've just put the link for the Lumio Padlet in the chat. And so that kind of gives you some of the information that we talked about with creating, logging in, all of those types of things in professional development. If you would like to go a bit further and follow them on social media, those types of things, and just kind of working through what that looks like. Also, one other thing that we'll share really quick with you, some of you guys may have seen this with the Lumio monsters that we've, and they were on our slides too. Put a link in there for you as well in the chat that are already some pre-made Lumio monsters that you can kind of use as you would like. So just some images, but then also some backgrounds as well. And so a couple of little gifts here to end the last session. There's some of our monsters popping up and just going through, but then also you see a few here, wanting to know more, Schoology Professional Learning course, all of this is living there. The webinars, when these recorded videos are done, we'll post them there as well. And then the link to that Padlet that kind of just talks you through some of the basics that we did today. We're really excited to see kind of this continue and grow because this is one that's been one that people have tried at different levels. And so we really are excited to see kind of where that goes throughout the rest of the course of the year. So
Awesome.
Awesome.
I think, Cam, we just wrapped it up.
Techmas is coming to an end. That's so sad. So sad.
Thanks for joining us today. Reach out to your LSR7 instructional technology specialist if you'd like to dive deeper into any of these tools.
Happy holidays, guys. Thanks again.